happening.
Yay! We're live!
Yay!
Hey, welcome! I'm Tamara Monosoff, #1 Amazon best-selling author and creator of the Author to Income Formula. And I am so excited that you're here today because we have a special guest, Jennifer Spivak, who is an expert on Facebook ads. And Jennifer, I'm so thrilled you're here.
I'm thrilled to be here. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. Now, before I formally introduce you, I just want to jump in and make sure that everyone can see me and hear me. Hey, Sue, Maggie, Carol from Mexico.
Cool.
Molly is back and awesome. And Elizabeth, hey, good to see you. Rose from Memphis. Hello, Michaela. Okay, this is so much fun. I love seeing you here. Can you just type in the chat, type yes if you can hear and see Jennifer and me clearly. Just say yes. That'd be great. Gail from New Jersey and Rose from Memphis. Hey, John. Okay, wonderful. People are piling in. We have a lot of people registered for this event. So clearly, Jennifer, last time I looked, 658 people.
That's amazing.
It is. So clearly this is a topic that people need support with. And one of the things that I teach is real how-to information. Like, how can you wrap your brain around this? Because I want our community to be successful too. So that's why I was so excited when you agreed to come on to our webinar, because you have raving fans. And let me talk about a little bit about you and what it is that you're excited about, because I loved your bio. When you said you're a results obsessed. Okay, when I said that, I'm like, she's the girl for me. I say girl because Jennifer calls herself the Facebook ad girl. Otherwise, I'd call you the woman for me.
Yes.
Okay, Jennifer Spivak is a results-oriented digital marketing expert who lives, eats, breathes Facebook ads. I love that. And you're an entrepreneur. She's an entrepreneur, award-winning marketer, sought-after speaker, and college-level marketing professor. And she has helped hundreds of businesses generate millions of dollars of Facebook ads. Welcome to the webinar. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining us.
I'm so excited. Should we get started?
Let's do it. Let me just give everyone just a little information first. Okay. Hey, Margaret, Lou, so glad you're here. Annette's in the house from California. Yay. And Robert here, Lou, Deb. Okay. Woo, they're all piling in. Anne, Trudy, John, Brian. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me just say this. Most of us, many of us, I shouldn't say most of us, many of us have never done Facebook ads before, or if we have, it's like you put it out there and you have no idea what it means and why the heck am I not making any money? So I'm hoping that you're going to bring some clarity to this process. So go ahead and jump in, but I want everyone to know, please type your questions in for Jennifer as you think of them, so that we could do rapid fire Q&A at the end, because we're only here for 1 hour. Okay, Jennifer, so go ahead, take it away.
And just as I'm launching, to quickly speak to the thing you just said, what I'm always talking about with my clients and when I give presentations and things like this is that there's kind of these two ways to look at Facebook ads. Either it's this black box that eats your money and you have really no idea what you're getting for what you're putting in, which nobody likes, or it's like this cash machine. And so today we're going to look at how to turn your Facebook ads into a cash machine, so you always know what you're getting for what you're spending and you have complete control over the return that you're generating, which I think is kind of everybody's goal.
I love it. Love it.
So,
okay.
Everyone's like, yeah, that sounds good. I think we'll take some of that. So let me just get this thing launched right here and then we can get right into it.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Go to the beginning.
We're at the end. How do we do that?
It's all right.
Nobody look. Everybody close your eyes.
Okay, everybody close your eyes.
This is a surprise for later. Oh, boy. Okay, hold on. We're getting there.
It's all right. It's all right. That's because we were practicing before the webinar.
We were so excited.
I know. So we were already doing this before we jumped on here. So no worries.
We're almost there. Almost there. Okay.
Yay!
Okay, we did it. Okay, so let's get started. I know we're ready now in crunch time. So the secret to high converting Facebook ads, or in other words, how to actually run Facebook ads that convert, that don't have that experience of you putting money in and feeling like Facebook stole all of your money and you don't know what you're getting for what you're spending. So just a sort of a quick request, I guess, for the duration of this presentation. There are a lot of different things you can use Facebook ads for, and none of them are necessarily wrong. I mean, you can use Facebook ads for PR, for branding, for awareness, for engagement. None of that is bad. But like I was kind of alluding to earlier, there is this opportunity to use Facebook ads as really a lead generation and customer acquisition tool. So my request for all of the attendees is to kind of just be open to shifting your perspective just for the next hour as we're having this conversation, and really looking at this as something that can make you serious money and help you fill your programs, fill your events, fill your courses, and really be like a huge part of your 2018 sales and customer acquisition strategy. That is what is available with this tool if you are actually doing things correctly. And that's what I'll be teaching you guys today.
Love it.
Okay. So just really quickly before we get into some of the nitty gritty and the technical stuff I want to share with you, why are we even talking about Facebook ads in the first place? Why have I created an entire business around Facebook ads? There's a couple of reasons that really speak to why this is such a powerful platform. So for one, and again, this may not be your experience yet, but it can be. It's really, really easy to measure and track your return in real time. And again, that's if you have things set up properly. If you know how to use things like conversion tracking and the pixel, and by the way, if that doesn't mean anything to you, it will by the end of this hour. But once you do have some things like that in place, you are always able to go into your ads manager and very quickly get a sense of what you're making for what you are spending. It really puts you, the business owner or the advertiser or the marketer, in complete control. So that's a huge advantage there. Another thing is the unbeatable targeting. I've been doing this for years, and I've got clients in every possible industry you can think of, from super generic to super specific. And in all these years, I've never once encountered a brand that I couldn't find some way to reach their target audience. So there's not only the opportunity to reach very specific audiences, but there's also this opportunity to really make sure that you're only spending money on the exact right people who are going to be your perfect peeps, the people that buy from you and who are actually going to spend money with you. That's, of course, the goal here. Another huge advantage of Facebook ads, it's really great for testing and real-time feedback. And I mean that in both, you get to run a lot of strategic tests for your Facebook ads and quickly figure out what's working and what's not from a Facebook ad perspective as far as how to generate leads and customers and sales. But you can also actually use the results of that testing and real-time feedback to influence other things like your website and your emails. If you are getting like a lot of response to a certain type of messaging or a certain graphic, or getting a really heavy response from a particular target audience, that is data that's basically telling you this is something that works. So it could actually also be a platform that's used as like really cheap market research. Just another opportunity there. Another awesome advantage is that Facebook ads actually are relatively inexpensive compared to a lot of other advertising channels and more traditional platforms out there. But more importantly, Facebook ads are variable cost, meaning that you don't have to commit to a huge sum of money up front and cross your fingers and hope that something good happens. You can actually start with something like $5 a day, $10 a day, $20 a day, and slowly over time continue to put more money in as you're seeing what you're getting, and you're able to track your ROI in real time if you have things set up properly. So a lot of these things are really about you, the business owner, being in complete control of how much money you make, which is, I mean, isn't that like every business owner's dream? And that is what's possible here. And just a quick point that I always love to make. I don't know how many of you guys on here have heard this, but there's been talk over the last almost really 2 years at this point that there are people leaving Facebook, especially the younger audience, the younger demographic. They're leaving for things like Instagram and Snapchat. And if any of your target audience potentially falls into that younger demographic, you may be thinking, does it actually make sense for me to invest in something like Facebook ads now if people are leaving? And the answer is absolutely yes, and here's why. So Facebook is really well aware of the fact that no social network can be the social network forever. It's not possible. I mean, MySpace was for so long, and yet look at where we are now. We'd all like laugh and make fun of MySpace. So given that, something that Facebook has done really artfully and continues to do really artfully, although it's kind of behind the scenes, is basically find all these other different places that Facebook ads can appear off of the Facebook platform. So essentially what they're saying is, even if Facebook as a social network, if the value of Facebook as a social network is decreasing, that actually has nothing to do with the value of Facebook as an ad network, because Facebook still has data on everybody, which is its main asset. And Facebook did something really smart, like buy Instagram, so that all of a sudden you'll be able to show Facebook ads on Instagram. And Facebook is now building out something that's called the Audience Network, which could eventually rival the Google Display Network. And essentially what it does is it allows Facebook ads to show up in different places on the web, inside articles, inside mobile apps. So long story short, even if you're hearing this sentiment that people may be leaving Facebook, that doesn't have any impact on how successful your Facebook ads can be, because of all these different places that Facebook is now allowing ads to be shown that are set up and served through the Facebook ad platform. And lastly, I mean, how can you ignore this stat? Facebook now has 1.8 billion users. I mean, if you have any audience that's a human, they're likely on Facebook. And then just this last thing at the bottom, which I always find really interesting. So when Facebook first created its ad platform, it took them 10 years to get to their first 3 million advertisers. And in 2016, so I'm sure the rate is now even drastically larger. I pulled this stat a little while ago. It only took them 9 months to get their additional million. So just think about that when you think about how quickly new businesses and entrepreneurs are adopting using this platform as a huge part of their sales and customer acquisition strategy. Okay, so now that we've set the stage, let's get into the nitty gritty. And definitely a lot of this presentation may seem very technical. I'm going to do my absolute best to explain it in a very simple way. But I know that it's important for you guys to understand these slightly technical aspects, because you could kind of look at this presentation that it's geared around a lot of the major mistakes that I see people making. And I work with both entrepreneurs who run businesses out of their living room like I do, and I also work with, international organizations that have 500 people deep marketing departments. And here's the thing, they're all making the same mistakes. So that's the good news, by the way. You're not alone if you're making one of these mistakes. There are organizations that have been around for 100 years that are still also making these mistakes. But that's why, again, it's so important that you, again, understand these slightly technical aspects of Facebook ads. If you do, and you can avoid the mistakes that I'm going to be presenting in this, you'll actually be better off than 75 or 80% of the advertisers on Facebook, just like that, just based on these things. So they may seem small, but I promise they make a huge difference. So let's dive in. So one of the really, really common mistakes that I see a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs and marketers making with their Facebook ad campaigns is that they don't choose the right objective. And more importantly, they don't understand why that even matters. So let me just take a step back really quickly. If you've never run a Facebook ad campaign before, this is the screen. And sometimes the interface obviously changes a little bit, but this is generally what the screen looks like when you first open up an ad. So let's say you're going to create your first ad ever. You've never done it before. You click create ad. This is the first thing you're going to see. And it's Facebook asking you, what's your marketing objective? Or in other words, what do you want to get as a result of running this campaign? And Facebook gives you all these different options: boosting posts, promote your page, reach people near your business, send people to your website. So all of these different options. And a part of the mistake is people don't understand how much the decision that you make here impacts and influences everything about your campaign. It's not just like a random, question that you're answering for fun. It really has a huge impact on how your campaign performs. So let me give you guys a quick example that hopefully makes sense. Let's say you are running a lead generation campaign. So you want to drive traffic to a landing page where you're either going to give out a lead magnet, the exchange is that you're collecting somebody's information in exchange for something else. So it's a lead gen campaign. And so let's say you're going to set up your campaign, you come in here and Facebook's asking, what's your marketing objective? And let's say you choose send people to your website as your objective, because you are technically doing that, right? You are sending traffic to your website. So here's what happens when you do that. Each one of these objectives has what's called an automatic optimization setting. And essentially what that means is Facebook's algorithm is going to work in your favor to support that objective. So if you choose send people to your website, the automatic optimization setting is clicks, which means that Facebook's algorithm, let's say you set it up and you never do anything again, Facebook's algorithm will always be working to get your ad the most clicks as possible at the lowest cost possible within your daily budget on any given day. That doesn't sound so bad, right? Except who really cares about clicks if what you want are leads, right? And it may not seem like it's that big of a difference, but here's the thing. Let's say, again, going back to that example with the lead gen campaign, instead of choosing send people to your website, you go over here under conversions and you choose increase conversions on your website as your main objective. Totally changes the game, because all of a sudden Facebook is now working in your favor to get you as many leads as possible at the lowest cost possible within your daily budget on any given day. And believe me, because of all the data that Facebook has on everybody, Facebook knows who clicks on a lot of things, and Facebook knows who converts. So you actually get access to an almost higher quality, higher caliber subset of your target audience when you choose that conversions objective. Those are people who, over the last couple of years, as Facebook has been collecting all this data, who convert, who buy things off of Facebook ads, who become leads, who fill out forms. And they're very different from the people who just click on everything but never actually take any action. And they're very different from the people who just like everything and never take any action. So does that kind of like make sense, that based on the different objective that you choose, you're basically telling Facebook to give you a certain type of person, and in choosing the wrong objective, everything about how your budget is spent and who your ad is shown to is different.
Jennifer, this is incredibly helpful. I'm going to be keeping the questions until the end.
Yeah.
However, there's one that's so relevant to this
Perfect.
slide that I want to ask you. Jenny's asking, can you change your answer later? So if you set it up one way, can you switch it?
Excellent question, and you can't. And it's actually the biggest pain. It drives me nuts. But what you would actually need to do is create an entirely new campaign, because everything, like after you basically answer this first question, the additional questions or fields or setup steps that you go through when you create your ad are sometimes specific to the objective that you chose. So you would have to pause your campaign if you chose the wrong objective and recreate from scratch a brand new one where you're choosing the correct objective.
Good to know.
Fabulous. And I mean, again, it's such a small thing. I mean, this is something, if you think about like all the different moving pieces of a Facebook ad campaign, answering this question takes 0.2 seconds, but it has such a huge difference. And in fact, both myself and a lot of other Facebook marketers out there have done A/B split tests, exact same ads, exact same audiences, but one campaign was send people to your website and one campaign was increase conversions. And I mean, it was clear, crystal clear, that in choosing conversions, you get significantly better performance. So if you have run ads before and you've chosen an incorrect objective, like boosting posts, for example, the suggestion here, the way to avoid this mistake, is to make sure you're choosing the objective that most closely aligns with your in real life objective. Because look, you may sometimes just want engagement. That's actually okay. Like I said earlier, there's nothing wrong with that. The mistake is if you're expecting conversions, if you're expecting leads, if you're expecting sales, make sure you choose the conversions objective, because choosing clicks or engagement as your objective when you really want sales, it's like a disjointed experience that's actually having Facebook work against you rather than in your favor, which is something that's possible here. Cool?
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so don't be intimidated by this, by the way. And everybody looks at this slide and they're like, no, I promise. It's a lot of copying and pasting. I'm going to make it really simple. All right, so we just spoke about that. If you want to generate leads and sales and conversions, you need to be able to choose conversions as your objective. That then leads us to this thing that's called the Facebook pixel, or as I like to say, a line of magic money-making code. So if you want to be able to track and optimize for conversions, how does Facebook know when a conversion has occurred if that's happening off of Facebook, right? So if you want Facebook to be able to optimize your campaign to get you more leads, Facebook has to have some way to know when a lead has occurred in order to have that optimization feature work. And that is where the Facebook pixel comes in. Now, just to clear up any confusion, the Facebook pixel is a line of code. Facebook just thinks they're fancy and likes to use their own terminology, so they made up this term called pixel. But it's no different than a Google tracking code, or Twitter calls it a tracking tag. You know, they all just want to feel special, but it's just a line of code that essentially sends data back to Facebook. The Facebook pixel also allows you to retarget people. So you can think of it as like this allows you to cookie people. So anybody who came to your site, you have the ability to then retarget them. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I just wanted to make it clear that the two main functionalities of this pixel, of this line of code, is to be able to retarget your website visitors, which can be very powerful, and also to be able to track for conversions or leads or sales. So here's a graphic that kind of explains, let's say, like the ecosystem of how this all works. So I'm going to try and like make this super simple. So let's just say in the top left here, that's your Facebook ad. So somebody sees that on Facebook, they click on your ad, and they go to your landing page or your website. Now, the pixel that we just looked at on the previous screen, by the way, is just something that you copy from your Facebook ad account. There's no coding, there's no generating anything. Like I said, it looks intimidating. It's a lot of copying and pasting. I promise that's all it is. I don't know anything about coding. So you would literally just go into your ad account, go into the pixel section, and copy and paste what is called your base pixel. So literally just the code that Facebook gives you that is unique to each ad account. So you would want that base pixel on all of the pages of your website so that you have the ability to retarget people in the future. So the pixel, just as it is, goes on your website. Now, a little bit of an aside, I don't know if any of you guys have a WordPress website. There is a phenomenal plugin called Pixel Your Site that will change your life when it comes to being able to actually set up the pixel, where it totally automates this entire process. So as far as where to actually place the pixel, obviously that depends on the type of website that you have, but a lot of the really common tools that people use today, like lead pages, ClickFunnels, and WordPress and Shopify, there are really cool automated tools that make this very easy. But again, you would want to take that base pixel just as it's given to you and put it on your website or landing page. Now, here's where this extra step comes in that allows you to actually track for a conversion. So let's say, click on the ad, they get to your landing page. The landing page is fill out this form to get your free guide to XYZ. Okay, so then your person's filling out the form, they hit submit, and they get sent to a thank you page. Now, you're going to put a extra special line of code, and again, it's a lot of copying and pasting. I'll show you in just a second. An extra special line of code in addition to your base pixel that only goes on your thank you page. That specifies to Facebook that a lead has been collected, because that's the only way that a person could get to your thank you page if they became a lead. So it's really actually all about URL rules. You're essentially telling Facebook, whenever someone gets to this thank you page, count it and track it as a lead and associate it with the ad that lead originally saw and came from. So that, of course, you can always go into your ads manager and see exactly which ads and which audiences are actually generating leads at the most favorable cost. Is that all clear so far?
It is, and I just love how you map that out so simply.
Yes, and that was the point, because sometimes, I'm talking about pixels all day long, and sometimes when I speak live, I can see the whole audience looking at me with these big eyes, and I'm like, okay, hold on, let's go back for a second. I see that I lost you somewhere. So I always just want to make sure that I'm explaining it as simply as possible because it can be simple. And what's really nice, maybe everyone can like take a deep breath after this. Once this is set up, you don't have to ever touch it again. It's like, that's it. So it's a one-time setup thing that can really dramatically change the performance of your campaigns. But once it's there, and you really never have to worry about it again. So that's a nice thing. It's not like with every campaign, you have to like reconfigure your pixel. But again, this is kind of the whole ecosystem. And so then once your user lands on the thank you page and your pixel essentially registers the fact that a lead has been generated, it sends that data back to Facebook. And then Facebook goes, okay, great. Not only can we attribute that lead to a specific ad or campaign, but it actually makes your Facebook campaign smarter over time because Facebook kind of goes, oh, interesting. That's what a lead looks like. Okay, how can we get more of those? Or, oh, interesting, that type of person converted. How can we now show the ad to more people that statistically look like that? So it's not only allowing you to track, but actually making your campaign smarter over time. And that's how you're able to do that conversion optimization that we spoke about in the very beginning. And just a really quick little note here. There's a great free Google Chrome extension called Facebook Pixel Helper that allows you to basically just confirm you've set your pixel up properly. So I use it all the time for all of my client accounts, just because, you know, it's technology, things break, you never know. So anytime after I go ahead and actually set up my pixel, I will use the Facebook Pixel Helper just to quickly confirm that it is working properly. So Facebook Pixel Helper will let you know if there's any kind of error. Okay, let's go look at the next slide. So just to sort of quickly explain, so we spoke about how you have your base pixel on your landing page, and then on your thank you page, there's a special extra code that needs to be added. So this black text is your base pixel. Again, it's only copying and pasting from your account. So let's just say, again, we're working with this example of generating a lead. I'm going to go to the next slide really quickly. This is a screenshot directly from Facebook. So again, more copying and pasting. So I would come down here and say, okay, the event that I want to track for, if you see at the bottom of the screen is a lead. I go over to the event code that is specified for a lead. And all I would need to do is go to my base pixel. And if you see like right above the red text where it says, to me, it always looks like that line says page view, sad, winky face. Like that's kind of like always what I think of when I see it. So I always say, look for page view, sad, winky face. You hit enter. And on the next line where the red text is, your conversion event code goes there. So again, copying and pasting. You just took the base pixel and then you went and grabbed, a event code based on whichever event it is that you want to track. And this is just a section of what's available. There's purchase, there's all different types of things. And you simply go back and you drop it in your base pixel. And then now, instead of this being a base pixel that only allows you to retarget people, this is now a lead pixel that you would put on your thank you page so that every time someone gets to the thank you page, that data gets sent back to Facebook and Facebook knows that a lead has occurred. That all makes sense so far, right?
Well, the disconnect for me in my head right then is what is this page right here? Is this where you get the code?
Yes. So basically, if you were inside your ads manager, there is a pixel section, and essentially you would click Setup Pixel. And so when you click Setup Pixel, the first screen that pops up is going to be your base pixel. So the pixel that is unique to your account. You just copy that. Then there's the next option to basically add an event. And that's where you would see a screenshot like this. And you would get to pick, I want to add a purchase event because I'm tracking for purchases. Or I want to add a lead event because I'm tracking for leads. Or I want to add a registration event because I'm tracking for webinar registrations. And so you're basically, some people call it like seasoning your pixel. You're like customizing your pixel to make it a special type of pixel that can track for a certain type of event. And that special pixel goes only on the page that people would land on after they've taken the action you want them to take. And that's kind of how that whole ecosystem works, so that Facebook is able to know when a lead or a sale or registration has occurred, even though it's happening off of Facebook.
That makes sense? Yes.
Fabulous. Okay. So that's the pixel. Again, I think like I had a good friend who suggested that my ad copy should say, if the Facebook pixel makes you want to drink, schedule a consultation call with me. So I know it's like the one big thing that, I think people are intimidated by and they hate. But again, I promise you, like, getting this set up is so worth it. It will completely change the trajectory of your campaigns and can be the difference between that black box experience of putting money in and getting nothing and having Facebook be a total cash machine that works in your favor. So it's worth getting through it. You have to have your drink, whatever it takes to get through it and actually get it set up. Again, once it's set up, you're all set, you're good to go. And it really makes your campaign smarter and that much more powerful.
Perfect. Now, before you go on, just there's some questions actually for me. And that is, I wish I could move where our pictures are. I understand that they're blocking some of the slide information, but I can't change that. That's just part of Webinar Jam. So, but the information, you can still see it, that is where the very bottom, if you're doing lead generation, that's where there would be a button for you to click to generate that code that you put on the thank you page. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. Okay. I mean, even if you just see at the top, like the structure of this in the name column, that's the name of the type of event you would want to be tracking. So lead, add to cart, purchase, whatever. The description is obviously just a description of what that might be. And then the event code column is the piece you would copy and paste. So you don't have to like actually see this right now. This is available for all of you inside of your ad account.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so we've really been speaking very technically up until this point. Now we're kind of about to get more strategic. So here's the thing. Like hundreds of times a day, somebody asks me, what audience should I target? Or what copy should I use? Or what's the best image to use? And my answer, time and time and time again, I literally feel like I just say this 1,000 times a day, is test it. I don't know. And, look, I've worked with all different types of clients. Some of them are in very similar industries, but even like the exact same type of business from one month to the next, you really never know how things are going to perform. One thing that is consistent about Facebook ads is that it's relatively unpredictable. So really always strategic ad testing is the key to success with Facebook ads. So what I'm going to be teaching you guys in just a minute is the exact strategic testing process that I use for all of my clients, which on average reduces our cost per lead and cost of acquisition by anywhere from 65 to 80% in 4 to 6 weeks. And it's never about knowing the exact right audience to start with, because I don't know that. Nobody really knows that. I mean, even as much as you know your business and your audience, there may still be 100 different ways to get at that audience through the parameters that are available in the Facebook Ads Manager. So it's always about having a strategic testing process to follow. What I just wanted to quickly point out on this slide are all of the different things that actually can be tested. It's a lot. You have the text above the ad, your ad creative, which by the way could be an image or a video or a GIF or a slideshow. You have your link headline, which is directly below the image. Below that, you have your link description, you have your URL, you have your call to action button, your targeting, your placement, which is where the actual ads appear, and your ad format. So it could be a video ad, it could be a link ad, it could be a carousel ad, it could be a lead ad. And if you don't know what all those things are, it doesn't even matter. I just really want to highlight almost like how many different levers there are to pull in order to be able to find that sweet spot. And so if you spent $20 on Facebook ads doing one thing and didn't get results, and then you kind of gave up, like you potentially missed out on all the success that would be on the other side of making a little tweak or trying a new audience or changing the call to action button. So this is what I spend 90% of my life doing, which is really just, again, testing and tweaking and optimizing and looking at different things side by side, looking at what the data says, and then making decisions based on that. So again, just to get a sense of how many different factors there are. And it may, again, seem like such a small thing, but that little tiny call to action button in the bottom of the ad, whether it says shop now versus learn more, there is a difference in performance. And if taking the time, spending a couple of bucks to split test those two things, to find out that one performs so much better than the other, like, wouldn't that be worth it? Wouldn't you want to know? And so that's really what all of this is about and why it's so important to understand and put the time and money and have the patience to actually do strategic testing when it comes to Facebook ads.
Jennifer, just really quick, have you seen a difference in performance with a video as opposed to a static graphic?
Yes. And people actually ask me this all the time. Facebook organically is really trying to push video right now. So I think people are hearing video as this like buzzword all the time and feeling like, of course, that's always better. And my answer, again, if you ask me, should I use video or image, is test it, because I have many clients where the static image performs best. You never know what your audience is going to do. Speaking of this next slide, you really never know until you actually test it. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars to find out which is best. You may spend $50, $20, $30. And again, if we're talking about long-term customer acquisition, wouldn't it be worth it to do that test? And instead of listening to what I say about what you should use, you're actually looking at data that tells you what your real audience actually is responding to and converting on. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Fabulous. Okay, so this is just like a fun thing. And if you happen to have seen the slides earlier and we were scrolling back, just pretend that you didn't. So here's just like a quick little thing. So why is it so important to test? It's because what your actual audience does in real life might surprise you. Again, we think we know our audience. Sometimes we're actually too deep in our own businesses where we think we know too much. Like I always use the word pixel in my ads and people are like, stop doing that. Like no one knows what that means. So there's always that scenario of we're almost too deep in our businesses and we think we know what's best and we think we know what audience to use and we think we know what creative to use. But what actually happens when you test it might surprise you. So this quick example is a really long-time client of mine. They are a trade show, a big trade show that gets put on in Vegas twice a year. And for years, I had been running their buyer customer acquisition strategy. So basically getting buyers to register and show up at the trade show. And we were always using Facebook. And then when Instagram ads became a thing, they wanted to start playing around with Instagram ads. And naturally, everybody on the project had a different opinion about which creative we should be using for Instagram. So there was a bit of a conversation around that. And ultimately what happened is we ended up testing 3 different pieces of creative rather than just going with what somebody wanted, actually, saying, let's actually test it and look at the data. So just play along for a second and just think to yourself, which one of these images do you think performed best? Okay, so this one is literally just leggings on a rack, just leggings, that's it. This one, of course, has the client logo, so that makes clients happy. They love that. And then this last one, how many images on Instagram look like this, right? It's like the white space, the plan on the desk, like this has Instagram all over it. So like it has to be this one, right? So these are the 3 different things that we tested. So I don't know, everyone think to yourself, what do you think? What would you guess?
Do you want to jump in 1, 2, or 3? You can type in 1, 2, or 3.
Yes, I'm curious.
I'm guessing 1.
Let's see, what's everyone else saying?
Okay, yeah.
We're getting a lot of ones?
Let me see. Come on and vote. Which one is it? 1, 2, or 3? Okay, 1 is, Annette says 1. Lou says 1. Beatrice says 3. Oh my gosh, they're coming in so fast. Lots of 1s. There's a couple 2s and mostly 1s. Okay,
cool. Well, you guys are smart because the winner by far, leggings. Now, what's really interesting is that I've given this presentation, in different ways in a couple of different places, and there always seems to be a consensus in the room or online, obviously, in the online room, but the consensus tends to change based on the audience, which I just find so fascinating. Sometimes the whole room is like, it's definitely 2. So who knows why that is? I just always find that really cool. But yes, okay, so leggings were the winner. And this isn't meant to say that you should use leggings in your ad or even that like, it's always colorful imagery that works. The point is that if we had just listened to what the client wanted, they wanted, the image with their logo in it. And if we had just listened to what the graphic designer on the team wanted, we would have only gone with the, pretty Instagram aesthetic image. Now, let's just be clear. The difference in performance between these 3 was not small. The images on the outside that are faded out got something like 9 and 10 conversions, so people actually registering to attend the trade show. The one in the middle got 393. And the average amount that a buyer spends at this trade show is $82,500. So I'll let you guys do the math. The difference in how much revenue is generated is tremendous. And it was all because of the going through this strategic testing process. So in not testing, you're potentially missing out on huge opportunity for cash, for conversions, leads, and sales. And again, it's just that question of why would you want to make your marketing decisions based on like what you think is the prettiest when you could make those marketing decisions and where you spend your money based on actual hard data. So that's the whole reason why we test. And interestingly enough, that leggings image has become like the foundation of their customer acquisition strategy. We don't know why. It's been years later. We've had all these like beautiful professional shots and videos done. And every year, leggings always wins. So I don't know, maybe you should use leggings in your strategy, but it's always so funny to me. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to attempt to explain on this screen is the actual steps, the testing process that I go through for all of my clients. And before I get into like the details of it, just understand that big picture conceptually, all it really is comparing 2 or 3 different things side by side, looking at the results, getting rid of what doesn't work, and keeping or scaling what does. It's literally that over and over and over again. So if you get tripped up or confused by any of the technical aspects, just remember, big picture, that's really what it is. Comparing, getting rid of what doesn't work, keeping or scaling what does. So again, here is the process exactly step by step that I go through whenever I'm setting up a new campaign for a client. So you always want to test your creative first. Because if you think about the makeup or like visually how an ad looks, the creative has kind of like the most real estate, right? Where the image goes or where the video goes. That takes up such a large portion of the ad unit. Getting that right as early on as possible would be something you would definitely want to do. So that's why you always test your creative first before you test your headline. And you only want to test a single variable at a time so that if something is performing better than another ad, you can say with some level of certainty it's because that's the best creative, given that all of your elements remain the same. So again, exactly what I would do is I would start with about 3 different images. And I would set up 3 different ads. All of the ads have identical copy. And all of the ads are targeted to the same audience. But each ad has a unique, different piece of creative. Because again, what I'm looking to isolate is which creative is working best. So you could actually, like that's your image test, and you would begin with that and let that run for about 5 to 7 days. Now, you can either, and this actually has a lot to do with your budget. Let's say you only have $10 a day to spend, then where you should start is exactly what I just said. Test 3 different ads, same copy, same audience, so all in the same audience, but different creative. And let that, and just for $10 a day, let those compete against each other for 5 to 7 days. Now, if you want to accelerate the testing process, let's say you have $30 a day to spend. You could actually take those 3 ads that you just created, duplicate them, and test them on a new audience. And then duplicate again and test on a third audience. So I don't know if this graphic helps or makes it more complicated, but essentially what I'm trying to explain is that you can basically be simultaneously testing different audiences, and within those different audiences, be testing different images. Does that kind of make sense?
Does it, when you said take 3 different graphics and test them with the same audiences, is that $10 on each ad a day?
Great question. So it's really $10 per audience. Without getting too into the complexities of the account structure, there's something under a campaign which is called an ad set, which is what it is. It's a set of ads. And at the ad set level is where you set both your audience and your budget. So ad set number 1 could be targeting authors, and authors gets $10 a day. And within the authors ad set, which gets $10 a day, you would be testing those 3 ads. And then ad set number 2 could be entrepreneurs. And then entrepreneurs ad set, another 3 ads, identical, $10 a day. So you're kind of letting the 3 ads inside of each audience compete for those $10 a day, in service of finding out which actually performs best. And just remember that if you set your pixel up properly and you chose conversions as your objective, like we spoke about originally, you're not just looking at which ad gets the most clicks, because again, we've determined who cares. You're looking at which ad's getting you the most leads, the most sales, what's actually making you money, what's getting you the right people in here. So that is what you're making your decisions on. And as you go through this process, you will identify audiences that definitely don't work. You will identify images that definitely don't work. The next step after you find your winning image is to take that top performing image, or sorry, to say creative, because it could be a video, and make another 3 ads. This time they all have the same creative, but they each have a different headline. So can you see how we continuously can go through that process of isolating one variable at a time, split testing different options side by side, turning off what doesn't work. And when we say what doesn't work, we're talking about what's eating budget and not driving results, and keeping or scaling what does. And what does is what is cost efficiently generating leads and sales and conversions. And sometimes you can just test a couple of audiences and a couple of images and get to a really great return where you're happy. And other times you could take this process even further with all of the other variables I showed on that earlier screen, even down to the call to action button. Does that make sense?
This is so helpful. Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, just so you know, we have 15 minutes left and a bunch of questions coming in.
Okay, I'm trying to remember. I think from a slide perspective, we are almost done. So I'm going to try and wrap up in the next 3 to 4 minutes, and then
perfect.
And we'll see if I can do it even quicker. But again, big picture, it's all about just comparing and making sure that you're isolating and looking at the data so that you're able to make smarter, more educated marketing decisions based on data. That's what this is really all about. Okay, so just really quickly, like a real life example of what this might look like, just so it makes it a little bit more tangible. This was a client of mine from several years ago, subscription menswear company. So you sign up, you get a box in the mail every month with either a tie or a bow tie, if that's your thing, and began the campaign by split testing these 3 different images side by side. I always say that I think that this test was broken because the cat didn't win, and that just seems insane to me, but hey, here we are. So again, interestingly enough, this really colorful image was the winner based on data, based on actual money generated, people subscribing to the box. So then that winning image was used as the basis for the next test, which was the copy test. So we tested a couple of different copy variations side by side. The winner, your dad's ties went out of style 30 years ago, stop wearing them. Okay, so then now we have this combination of copy and creative that not based on what we thought was the coolest, because I would have put the cat there, but actually based on real data, what works, what people respond to. And then we were able to use this ad to basically test and do a lot of tests around audience. You know, it's the particular job title, geography, age range, different, you know, interests, behaviors, etc. So really getting to get really deep and granular using already proven copy and creative to find the sweet spot where we're able to generate the maximum amount of return. Okay, cool. We are very close to being done. I think this is the second to last slide. So just really quickly, I won't get too much into the granular details here, but I just want to point out the ability with Facebook ads to create funnels through retargeting. So here's the thing, like Facebook, the news feed is full of other brands and advertisers and marketers trying to sell stuff to your audience. Like, that's just fact. The space is usually crowded now and continues to become even more crowded. So one touch point with a totally cold audience, someone who doesn't know who you are, is not going to turn into a sale. That's just not realistic to bank on that. But you do have the ability with Facebook ads to create funnels through retargeting. So for example, you know, if you ran a lead generation campaign and from there you ultimately wanted to upsell somebody into a $99 program, let's just say. So you would run your lead gen campaign to a cold audience because it's a give. You're basically saying, you know, I'm going to offer you this thing for free. And then what you can do in addition to everything we've talked about up until now, so you'd run your campaign, you've had your pixels set up, you choose conversion optimizations, you do your testing to find the best audiences for your lead magnet. But anyone who does actually fill out a form warm and become a lead, you have the ability to then immediately start retargeting those people with ads to your $99 program or ads to a discovery call, whatever the next step is in your funnel. So it's basically just, I am mindful of the time, so I'm not going to get super specific, but it is just a point that almost like whatever regular sales funnel you have in real life or whatever your email funnel looks like, you can actually mirror that process with Facebook ads. And it's all through these different types of what Facebook calls custom audiences. You can build custom audiences based off of an email list. You can build custom audiences based off of particular pages on your website that a person has visited. You can build custom audiences based on people who have watched your Facebook lives. All these different ways to create these very specific audiences of people and then deliver specific ads and specific content to them based on who they are and where they are in your sales funnel. Does that make sense?
Yes, wonderful.
Fabulous. Okay, and then I think, yes. So you want to do questions first, or should we go over this? It's up to you.
So yeah, let's just answer a couple of questions,
Okay,
and then I know you have something special for my community that you're going to offer, but let's answer a few questions.
Fabulous.
Scrolling down, I've been marking them as we go.
Awesome.
Okay, Margaret asks, what tool do you use to design the professional Facebook ads?
Like as far as the imagery, I think that's what we're asking. So I like to use Canva to create all of my images, but also Facebook, if you actually are inside the ads manager, Facebook also gives you a bunch of free stock photos that you're allowed to use in ads. So I will sometimes source from there. I actually love to test a variety of, like, let's say I'm working with a new entrepreneur. I like to test a variety of something I made in Canva, one of their own professional headshots, and then like a stock photo. And so that's like usually a good way to split test and see what the audience actually responds to. And just in the event that that question was also alluding to whether I build an ads manager or power editor, I always do now build an ads manager. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but just in case that was the question, I do build my ads in ads manager.
Okay, perfect. And Deborah was asking at the very beginning when you were talking about the distinction of whether you should select, what type of campaign to select. Mm-hmm. She said, what is the best choice to sell programs, like online programs or, yeah.
If you are selling anything, conversions. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you want people to take an action beyond just clicking on your ad, always, always, always choose conversions and always, always, always have the pixel set up.
Perfect. Okay, great. And Annette says, Squarespace, would I add the pixel code in the footer for each page?
Yes. So there is, it's like in the advanced settings, I think it's called code injection, where for Squarespace, you can actually go ahead and just place your base pixel. And then if you're doing e-commerce on Squarespace, there's another section where you can specifically have a code that fires when somebody has made a purchase. And that's where you'd place your special purchase code based on that copy and paste chart that I showed you guys earlier.
Okay, perfect. One more question, then I'm going to let you tell everyone about what you're offering, and then we'll jump back over. Annette says, how do you access the Facebook Pixel Helper?
So it's just a Google Chrome extension. So I think the best thing to do would be literally just Google Facebook Pixel Helper. Something will come up and you can download it for free, and then it just becomes like a little icon in the top of your in your Chrome if you have that as a browser, and it will pop up on any website and let you know if any particular page or website has a pixel on there.
Okay, great. And I see questions from Charles, Marissa, Annette. We have some more, so go ahead, and Jennifer, but they're all coming in. Tell us about what you're offering to us, and then we'll jump back over to Q&A.
Okay, fabulous. So I do have an online course called the Facebook Ads Intensive, and it's basically a super expanded, much more in-depth version of what we spoke about today. So instead of having an hour for me to quickly rush through everything, it's actually step by step, you almost like looking over my shoulder, watching me on screen share as I set up all of these things. So we cover things like your ad testing strategy, pixels, targeting, actually watching me walk through the ads manager and set things up, how to track conversions, ad copy and creative, tracking ROI, getting really specific with Facebook ad funnels. And I also have a ton of bonuses, different master classes, a swipe file of my most successful Facebook ads. I mean, I put so much into this. I actually just updated it. So you guys will be the first people ever to access the brand new 2018 version. I literally just like 3 days ago, in preparation for this, completed the brand new overhaul. So it's brand new, totally updated with the new interfaces and everything for 2018. The course is normally $247, and so we do have the special link here. In addition to using the special link that we've created here, I've also created a discount code for you guys. So if you use TM15, you can actually get an additional 15% off, which works out to about $209. And you do get lifetime access to the program, which includes really any updates that are needed, because as I'm sure you know, Facebook ads change all the time. So I'm always keeping it updated so that you have all the information that you need.
Wonderful. Now, can you tell us, TM15, is it a capital TM or
it's
is
lowercase?
it?
Lowercase
Okay,
TM15.
You're getting a woohoo from Annette. What I love about this is that you're showing your screen and going through the steps, so you can hit the pause button and actually watch those steps and copy paste and do the things right along with you. So I love how you're doing that.
Yes, and there's also cheat sheets for every lesson. So I know some people are like, I don't like learning from video. So you could watch the video once and then actually just setting things up, follow along with the PDF cheat sheet. So I provided a lot of different ways for people to learn, and it's meant to be very actionable, like watch and then do. I don't want people to just learn.
Perfect. Okay, fantastic. Some of you should be able to see the offer up on the screen too. I'm hoping that some of you can see that and you can grab Jennifer's amazing offer. I think it's fabulous. And Jennifer, also, I don't know if you can take that link and drop or put that into the chat, but let me.
I can. Let me do that right now, actually.
Drop that in the chat, and then let me go back and ask some more questions. So I hope you'll take advantage of this. Thank you for giving us a discount code. $209 is an amazing offer, because of the way you even taught this webinar tells me just the depth and breadth of knowledge you have in this process. So to be able to look over your shoulder, I think, is an amazing opportunity.
Yes. And I mean, if you just, I mean, I've got clients that make a consistent 10x return on their ad spend. So if you just think about it, like the ability here, like what's possible, it's a tremendous value. I'm biased, but it is.
Wonderful. Okay. Charles is asking, can you brand your URL in a video or a static ad?
I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Can you brand your URL?
I think what you mean, Charles, is just putting your URL on top of a static ad. And the answer is yes.
Yes. But I mean, look, here's the thing. You know, I work with a lot of clients who almost focus too heavily on branding when it comes to Facebook ads that are designed for sales. I'm not saying go the complete opposite direction of your brand, but at the end of the day, the goal of this campaign, if you are using it for conversion, is to drive conversion. So if, you know, having your URL or having a picture of yourself, it might not mean anything to a cold audience. It's not so much about like getting your brand out there, but more about bringing the right people into your audience, using imagery and copy that speaks to them.
Okay, perfect. I love that. And then also, let me wait, scroll down. Marissa says, does Shopify have a pixel plugin? How do I use it to optimize conversions on Facebook?
Okay, Shopify, if anyone has this, your life's about to be so easy, because Shopify makes this. I love Shopify. Actually, with Shopify, everything we spoke about with the pixel, you actually only have to do one thing. You don't have to do anything I spoke about. You simply go into your pixel section and copy your pixel ID, which you'll see like right at the top in the pixel section. Simply, I can't remember exactly where it is, but it's somewhere under settings in your online store in Shopify, where there is literally a field that says place your pixel ID here. Just copy and paste that, and everything we spoke about is automatically set up to track for conversions, to track for purchases. And not only that, but to actually have the value of the purchase pass through, so you can directly track actual ROI, because one purchase for $10 versus one purchase for $1,000 is not equal, right?
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, I didn't realize that Shopify was set up that way. That's fantastic. Okay,
yes.
Jennifer or Divya is actually, we're putting you on the spot. Do you have any discounted done for you offers today?
I didn't, but you know what? Let's make it up. So I do have 2 done for you programs. One of them is called Facebook Ads Made Easy. And it's essentially where I set this up for you, like set up your system and then train you on how to manage it. That's normally $12.95. I'll do 10% off for anybody that's on this webinar. You can actually, I don't have a code for it because I didn't set it up. You can just contact me. And I also, if I'm doing complete and total management, like I basically have a VIP management program where I become your partner in literally doing everything for you and teaching you in the process. That's normally $2,500 a month. I'll do 15% off the first month.
Okay, perfect. And what is the best email so people can contact you after?
Let me actually drop this in the chat, but it's js@jenniferspivak.com. Let's see if I can spell my name correctly. That would be nice.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. So, and if you want to take advantage of this, Jennifer, in terms of the online course, the thing that's nice about an online course is you own it, you have it, and it's at your disposal 24/7.
Yes.
Incredible. For $209, you have it at your fingertips, which is amazing. And so I hope that you'll take advantage. How long do people have to take advantage of this discount?
The course, it's until Sunday at midnight. So you've got several days, about 5 days.
Okay, perfect. And that's for the people who are watching the replay too. I'll send that out and
Fabulous.
Put the link in there too. Also, I just want to say, I know our time is up. Just really quick, Jennifer wanted you to have a gift, and let me see here. It is a Facebook ad checklist. By the way, I think I just shared it. So you should, Jennifer, can you see that? Or can you see a download button?
Let's see.
Can you all see a download button? Okay, I don't know if you can see it or not. I will make sure that this Facebook ad checklist is available when I send out the replay. I think what's amazing is I went through this and I wish I had had this checklist. I went through it this morning. I'm like, okay, I could have really used that when I was starting with Facebook ads. This is really valuable just in and of itself. So just for attending and watching this, Jennifer has given you her checklist. Thank you so much for joining us, Jennifer, and each one of you who joined us today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, that was a wealth of knowledge. It really helped frame this whole process, and also realize it really is important to.
I just realized I have the last screen with everyone's asking email. I just remembered on the last screen. So there it is. There's my email. There's my website.
Perfect. Okay, yeah. So if you have questions, it's js@jenniferspivak.com, and that's Jennifer's website. And thank you again. And I really appreciate how generous you've been today with this amazing content. And thank you all for being here with us today. Take good care.